Today, we're going to discuss a case that rocked the United States to its core, the Oklahoma City bombing carried out by Timothy McVeigh. With this episode, we aim to educate and reflect on this tragic part of history. Let's delve into the life and crimes of Timothy McVeigh. Background and early life. Timothy McVeigh, known for the infamous Oklahoma City bombing, started his life in a rather ordinary setting. He was born on April 23, 1968 in the small city of Lockport, New York. Located along the Erie Canal, Lockport was an emblem of small-town America, far removed from the violent course McVeigh's life would take. Raised in Pendleton, New York, a peaceful suburb of Buffalo, McVeigh's early life was marked by the same trials that many face. His parents were working-class folks. His father, William McVeigh, worked at a radiator plant while his mother, Mildred Mickey Noreen, was a travel agent. His family, including a sister and half-sister, lived a fairly typical suburban lifestyle. When Timothy was only 10 years old, his parents divorced. It was a troubling time for young McVeigh, and he ended up staying with his father in Pendleton while his mother moved to Florida with his sisters. His mother's departure had a significant impact on him, and he was known to feel the loss deeply. In school, McVeigh was remembered as a shy, introverted boy. He was a decent student, albeit not a standout, and he developed an early interest in computers. However, his most prominent hobby was survivalism, influenced by his grandfather. They often went hunting together, and this fueled his fascination with guns, which he saw as tools for survival. McVeigh's teen years were uneventful, but for a developing interest in right-wing politics and a growing disillusionment with the government prompted by perceived overreaches and perceived infringements on civil liberties. Despite these burgeoning views, no one around him could foresee the dangerous path Timothy McVeigh was on: military career and radicalization. In 1988, following a brief stint in college and a series of unfulfilling jobs, McVeigh sought a new direction and enlisted in the U.S. Army. His disciplined, introverted nature suited the military lifestyle, and he soon stood out as a promising soldier. He achieved a reputation as a top-performing infantryman, and his performance led to his selection for the U.S. Army's prestigious Bradley Fighting Vehicle School. The pivotal experience in McVeigh's military career came with his deployment to the Middle East during Operation Desert Storm in the Gulf War. Here, he served as a gunner and engaged in combat, even earning a Bronze Star for his bravery. However, the realities of war deeply affected him, and he became disillusioned by what he saw as unnecessary deaths and destruction. This experience served to strengthen his developing anti-government sentiments. After returning from the Gulf, McVeigh hoped to join the U.S. Army Special Forces, an elite group of soldiers. However, he washed out of the rigorous selection process, a failure that hit him hard. He chose to leave the military in 1991, finishing with commendations, but also a deep sense of disappointment. Civilian life did not provide solace for McVeigh. His anti-government feelings intensified, fueled by events like the 1992 Ruby Ridge incident and the 1993 Waco siege. Both incidents, in his eyes, represented unacceptable government overreach and fueled a narrative of the government as the enemy of the people. McVeigh began to drift among various anti-government and extremist groups during this period. He attended gun shows and militia meetings, selling anti-government paraphernalia and spreading conspiracy theories. He found solace and validation in these circles for his deep-seated grievances against the government. During this time, he became obsessed with the Turner Diaries, a controversial novel often associated with white supremacy and anti-government extremism. The book depicts a violent revolution in the United States, leading to the overthrow of the federal government. Its impact on McVeigh was profound, shaping his ideology and justifying his growing radicalization. Oklahoma City bombing. April 19, 1995 is etched in the memory of America as a day of shocking tragedy. The Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building in Oklahoma City was suddenly and brutally attacked, with a truck bomb ripping apart the 9-story federal building. It was a clear day, just past 9 a.m., when a horrifying explosion echoed through the downtown area, shaking buildings and shattering glass over a 16-block radius. The blast claimed an unthinkable toll, 168 lives lost, 19 of whom were children in the building's daycare center. In addition, more than 600 people suffered injuries ranging from minor cuts and bruises to severe burns and crushed limbs. Rescue efforts went on for days as firefighters, police officers, and ordinary citizens combed through the rubble, hunting for survivors. In the immediate aftermath, speculation swirled about who was behind the attack. Many initially suspected foreign terrorists, but soon a different narrative emerged. 2 days after the bombing, Timothy McVeigh, a decorated Gulf War veteran turned anti-government extremist, was arrested on unrelated charges. As investigators pieced together evidence, it quickly became apparent that McVeigh was the prime suspect in the bombing. Investigation revealed that McVeigh had planned the attack meticulously over a 2-year period. He had acquired and stored the necessary materials to create a highly destructive bomb using ammonium nitrate fertilizer, diesel fuel, and other chemicals. The bomb was packed into a yellow Ryder truck that McVeigh parked outside the Murrah building. Why the Murrah Federal Building? It housed 14 federal agencies, including the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, ATF, and the Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA, making it a symbol of federal authority. The prime target for McVeigh's rage against the government. Interview and reflections. On March 12, 2000, Timothy McVeigh was interviewed on 60 Minutes by Ed Bradley. This interview took place within the stark confines of the maximum security U.S. penitentiary in Terre Haute, Indiana, where McVeigh awaited his execution on death row. In the interview, Bradley confronted McVeigh with the public's perception of him, asking him if he considered himself the face of evil. McVeigh's response was chillingly nonchalant. He asked, "Am I pure evil? Am I the face of terror sitting here in front of you? Or am I able to talk to you man to man?" He stated that not everything that the public heard about him was true, but didn't provide specifics, leaving an unsettling ambiguity about his self-perception and intentions. McVeigh's attempts to engage in this man-to-man discourse during the interview can be seen as a tactic to humanize himself, to separate the man from the monstrous act he committed. However, it's crucial to not lose sight of the gravity of his actions. His decisions and actions resulted in the tragic loss of 168 lives, caused immense pain, and left a permanent scar on the nation's psyche. The 60 Minutes interview offers a rare insight into the mind of a domestic terrorist. It raises uncomfortable questions about the nature of evil and the potential for radicalization. McVeigh's responses, or lack thereof, leave us with a haunting reminder of his horrifying act and the potential for individuals to commit unthinkable atrocities under the banner of extremist ideologies. This conversation stands as a testament to the need for continued vigilance against such destructive beliefs and actions. Execution and final words. After a protracted legal process, Timothy McVeigh was executed on June 11, 2001 at the U.S. Penitentiary in Terre Haute, Indiana. McVeigh, the man behind the deadliest act of domestic terrorism in the United States, was administered a lethal injection, marking the federal government's first execution in 38 years. In his final moments, McVeigh made a profound choice. Instead of making a spoken statement, he presented a handwritten copy of an 1875 poem, Invictus, by British poet William Ernest Henley. This poem has been interpreted over the years as a representation of resilience in the face of adversity. However, its meaning becomes disturbingly warped when viewed in the context of McVeigh's life and actions. The poem concludes with the lines, "I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul." These words, filled with a sense of self-determination and personal responsibility, take on a chilling tone when considered as the final statement of a convicted mass murderer. McVeigh's choice of Invictus as his final statement can be seen as a reflection of his unrepentant attitude towards his actions. Even as he faced the consequences of his terrible crime, he appeared to remain firm in his convictions, showing little to no remorse for the lives lost and countless others affected by his actions. The story of Timothy McVeigh serves as a stark reminder of the destructive power of radical ideologies. It is essential to remember and learn from our past to prevent such tragic events in the future. We hope that this episode has provided some educational insights into a dark chapter in American history.